Hey, how's it going out there, Patriots? My name is Brandon. This is Texas Freedom Force. Wanted to come to you today because we've got, in the past couple of days, we've had a couple of messages that have come through that was brought to my attention of finger pointers, naysayers, and just the plain lazy. And so, therefore, I wanted to address this in this video right quick. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. It's no secret. This is Texas Freedom Force has now launched a Impeach Joe Biden overpass rally that's supposed to be taking place on October 30th at 2 p.m. This is happening across the state. We're talking about San Antonio, Dallas, the Houston area, and we are also in talks right now with starting one up the same day, same time in El Paso and in Amarillo, Texas. The reason that we are having these rallies is because of, this is Texas Freedom Force. We don't usually deal with national issues, but because there's been so many attacks by the Biden administration on Texas, we felt that there's a need for this. And so therefore we were going to have this statewide Impeach Biden overpass rally. We've had a lot of response, and to the Patriots, first of all, that have responded saying that they are coming. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your support. For those that have not engaged yet, you can always go on our website at txfreedomforce.org. And you'll be able to get some of the information on our event calendar, or we do have links on Eventbrite for each and every city, and inside the description of every one of those cities' event links, we have the listings of all the locations that we have thus far, and we're constantly adding new ones. But the couple of comments that we've had over the past day, the 3 comments that have been brought to my attention, I've read them, and they all kind of have the same theme. The first one is that we're wasting our time by having the impeach Biden protest, and others are saying that we need to basically do something, meaning grab guns and head out and start taking on the world right now, etc. Instead of having talk about this. And then, of course, the one we had today, which was that just came in probably within an hour, said that we're wasting our time for having an impeach Biden overpass rally, or a statewide impeach Biden overpass rally. Now, you'll have to excuse me, I'm a little under the weather today. So, we've got a huge problem inside of the Patriot community. And this goes across the board for the whole United States, not just Texas, but we mostly focus on Texas. There's always people out there that don't have vision. They don't have the mindset to think 10 steps ahead of them on what's going to happen, etc. And then you've got those that are just too lazy to do anything. But boy, every single one of those 2 types of people will come on out and they'll voice their opinion on Twitter. And that's basically all they do, is voice their opinion on Twitter. Or they voice their opinion on Facebook. Or they voice their opinion on some other social media link. But you don't see them doing anything. They don't do shit. And excuse my language, but that's the way I feel about it. We've got a border crisis that's going on. This is Texas Freedom Force is right now in the process of having talks with law enforcement, other patriotic groups, to start an op on the border. But we don't hear much of that happening anywhere else throughout the patriot community. We don't hear, and mind you, we're just going to be one location covering a couple, a couple dozen square miles, maybe a little bit more of the border, when we've got over 1,000 something miles of border that needs to be covered. But yet these people will criticize you and say, oh, you're wasting your time, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And part of it is they're too lazy to get up off their asses and actually go out and do something to try to correct the problem. Their idea of correcting the problem is just posting something on Twitter, posting something on Facebook, on any social media account. But they don't actually do any work to get it done. And I'll give you a prime example. The left doesn't do this kind of stuff. Yesterday, they had their little march all across the United States, I might add, that was upset about the abortion ban here in Texas, or the Texas Heartbeat Bill, some of y'all may know it by. And the Texas Heartbeat Bill, it's not going to be flipped here in Texas. We're not changing a damn thing, and they can cry, whine, scream, kick, throw fits, etc. It's not going to change here in Texas. So one could say that having those protests yesterday was an utter failure because Texas is not going to change anything. Another part of it is that, yeah, Joe Biden is trying to sue the state of Texas over the Texas Heartbeat Bill, but that lawsuit's not going to go anywhere. We've talked to several different lawyers about this case, and it seems like it's going to get thrown out because it's not essentially banning abortions, it's stopping abortions from 6 weeks forward. So, again, you could say all those rallies yesterday, etc., are just wasting their time. And the bigger picture of it all is the Supreme Court's going to hear Roe versus Wade this coming year, or in the next year, I should say. And they are going to decide and rule on Roe versus Wade. Now, there's a pretty darn good chance that Roe versus Wade is going to be flipped, simply because we didn't have the technology that we had when Roe versus Wade first came up. There wasn't ultrasounds, there wasn't sonograms, there wasn't things like that were happening. So therefore, now that we know that the heart starts beating at a certain time, now that we know that there's life inside there, etc., the chances are, and the fact that the Supreme Court is now leaning conservative, with more conservative justice than there are liberal justices, or far left justices, whichever one you want to call them, it's going to be overturned. So all of those protests, etc., yesterday could have been, you're wasting your time. You're not doing anything. But I'll be damned if they didn't have thousands of liberals that showed up in solidation with each other and basically backing each other up to have those things. You don't see that on the right. You don't see that because everybody is either too busy to do anything, or they're the type that says somebody else needs to try to fix this problem, meaning somebody else other than me, or they just are too damn lazy to get up off the couch and do anything about it. It's just the way it is. So when you're telling us that this Impeach Joe Biden rally is actually a waste of time, or nothing is going to come of this, etc., you're not thinking long term, you're thinking short term. You're thinking, yeah, right now the Democrats own the House and up in D.C. It's a 50-50 split in the Senate up in D.C. So, of course, the Democrats are not going to impeach Biden while they still have control of that. But you also see that the poll numbers for Joe Biden has like 37% approval ratings across the United States. More people disagree with him than they agree with him, which is usually a good indication, and this is the biggest indication that we've had in a long, long time when it comes to presidents and their approval ratings, that the House is going to flip come next November. The Senate most likely will be taken over by Republicans next November. So right now, you want to launch the impeach Biden idea into people's heads. Right now, you want to get them fired up. Let them know they're not alone, that there are others out there that think that the way that they do. If any president in the history of the United States was ever supposed to be impeached, Joe Biden's a prime example. This is the one guy that needs to go. So you start by having this statewide bridge protest, this bridge rally, overpass rally, whatever you want to call it, the Impeach Biden overpass rally. That idea spreads to other Texans. That idea spreads to other Americans across the United States. They start holding similar events. Other organizations that deal with national issues on a daily basis, that are equipped to do this kind of stuff, they start getting in on it. and they start pushing their rallies, whether it be in DC or just in their local home states, etc. And it builds from there, and it builds. Then November comes around. The Republicans take over the House. The Republicans take over the Senate. Then the people can apply pressure to the Republicans, or at least those that still have balls, to impeach Joe Biden. Right now, even if we could get an impeachment, it wouldn't do us no good, because we impeach Biden, Harris steps up into his place. If you impeach Harris, Nancy Pelosi steps in his place. It just gets worse and worse down the line. But if the Republicans gain control of the House and the Republicans have the majority in the Senate, you impeach Biden, Harris is thrown in there. You impeach her right behind him, because both of them are just as guilty for the same stuff. And if not, Harris is actually guilty of more stuff than what Biden is. Then you have the Republican Speaker of the House who would become the President of the United States. That is the long-term goal that you have to fight for. Folks, we can't survive another 3 years of Joe Biden in office. You see what's happening right now with inflation. You see the attacks on Texas. Everything from him getting upset and trying to challenge our permanentless carry bill, to not protecting the border, taking horses away from the Border Patrol on the border, which is the most asinine thing that there ever was. And you continue on to see all of these things that are taking place. We're all paying when we go out for gas. I mean, the numerous pictures on social media. Thanks a lot, Joe Biden, when you have, $70, $80 gas bills just to fill up your truck. It's ridiculous. We can't survive this. So the movement has to start right now. This movement has to start. This is just the first shot, the shot across the bow, to wake other patriots up, to tell them to get off of their rear ends and start doing something about this before we lose America. Because right now, especially with this $3.5 trillion bill that's taking place in the House and in the Senate, you've got the far, far left, AOC and her little squad crew, whatever you call them, sitting in one side of the back seat of the car. And then you've got the moderate Democrats, if you want to call them that are saying, no, 3.5 trillion is too much. Let's do 1.5 trillion on the other side of the back of the car. And they're fighting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Essentially, if either one of those bills gets passed, that car's going over the cliff. The only hope that we have is that it doesn't drag America down with it. We have got to start taking action and taking response to all this stuff to put an end to it. The mask mandates, the vaccine passports, everything. Joe Biden has done something to offend every single conservative out there. Every single constitutionalist ought to be screaming at the top of their lungs. And this is the chance that we have to possibly do something about that. Now, of course, like I said before, This is Texas Freedom Force is not a national politics organization. We don't usually get into that. We're not set up for that. We deal with Texas-related issues only. But because Joe Biden has pushed our feet, and he's pushed our bodies back, and he's pushed all this nonsense and tyranny up on Texas, and he attacks us and punishes us at every chance he gets because we won't conform to his liberal agenda, well, we've got to fight back. We've got to do something. And this is where it starts. Again, with the border, TITFF is prepared to go down to the border and work an operation. All we're doing right now is working out logistics and to making sure that everything is done by the book. Because if you go out there and half-ass it, you're going to fail. We want to make sure it's done and it's done correct. So, with that, I'll say to all the, I guess you can call them trolls, or to all the people that are too lazy to get up and to actually do something, but point the finger at those that are trying to do something, get off your ass and do something. Get off of social media, shut it down, and go out and try to do something, or come up with a better idea. If you've got a better idea, we're willing to listen to it. But right now, the only hope that we see is impeachment of Joe Biden, because like I said before, we cannot survive another 3 years of his presidency. This man is absolutely loony and being controlled by somebody behind the scenes. So I hope that you will join us. And as soon as we get more information about the El Paso Impeach Biden rally, we'll post that information up to you guys both on the website as well as creating a separate link on Eventbrite for them. And if Amarillo does the same thing, we will post it up in the same places so that way you'll see. And we'll be pushing this on social media for quite some time, all the way up until October 30th. Mind you, this is going to happen all the way around the state, in all our big cities, and even some of our smaller towns of patriots that want to get involved to do this. This is going to be a statement, and we're going to have media come out to take pictures of this stuff. Not only that, we're taking our own pictures so that we can put in a video to you guys to show you how all of this turned out and how many people are so upset. I'll tell you what, I worked a bridge protest, or a bridge overpass rally, whatever you want to call it, for the impeaching Obama when he was in office. And the absolute number of honks and thumbs up and claps and stuff by cars that were passing by was unreal. We've got to understand that we're not alone out there, that Texans are pretty much unanimous on this stuff, and Americans, minus the liberal left, are all together on this stuff as well. What we have to do is come together, and we have to use our force to use the big crowds, etc., just like the left did yesterday with their pro-abortion rallies. Well, the same can be done for the impeach rallies, and force them to have to cover this, and force the Republican lawmakers that, hey, if we put you in office, we expect you to impeach that mother. Thank y'all. God bless Texas.